You would think that going to church would be anxiety free, wouldn't you? I got an email from someone this week. I really encourage you to do that too. If you want to email me a question or a comment, please feel free to do so. But this was what this person wrote. I was told by a Christian counselor that God's antidote for anxiety was pray right, think right, do right. And when I read that, I felt like I like to do something right about that counselor. But and then she went on to say, I went to church today and was filled with a lot of anxiety since there were thousands of people there. Shouldn't I not have any anxiety in church then if I'm supposed to be there? But I always feel some anxiety at church and in crowds. And again, by the way, if you want to send me an email with a question or a comment, please do. I really appreciate it. It really helps me to write. So, here are some thoughts about what this lady wrote to me. Number one, God's antidote for anxiety was pray right, think right, and do right. When I hear messages like this from counselors, friends, pastors, and churches, I want to scream and throw things. I call it baptized behaviorism. And behaviorism is focused on changing the behaviors. If I do these things, then I'll get the desired outcome. If I work really hard at prayer, at my thought life, and at doing everything right, then I'll have less anxiety. It's about working hard, doing it right. And then they throw in God or the Bible or scriptures or church. And then it gets baptized that it must be unquestionably right because this person has interpreted it from the Bible to say that very thing. And they say something like, this is the antidote, this is the prescription, follow the blueprint of the Bible and all will be well. And I think that this sort of advice actually increases your anxiety because you'll always wonder, am I doing enough? Am I making the mark? And it builds a lot of anxiety in a person. And when the desired outcome doesn't happen, then you think, I must try harder, or there is sin in my life. And this particular lady said about her depression, the counsellor told her that you have to obey your way out of depression. I think obeying your way can actually, or the way that they are saying, can lead into more depression. The expectations are high. Do right, whatever that might be, and you will come right. The writing of this email, I really pray for her. God says to anxious hearts, not do more. God says, I am with you. Period. That's what God says. Right throughout the Bible. I think someone said it was like 365 times God says to the anxious person, I am with you. Right from start, right to end. I am with you. And you see, Jesus, full of God complete, he lived a perfect life on your behalf. There are no more brownie points for you to earn. He has won them all, okay? You can't do more to appease God, to make God happy. No, God loves you just the way you are. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Look, don't get me wrong. Praying and working hard on your, or not hard, just working on your thought life, it's important. Doing the right thing, it's important. But when it's made in a condition of acceptance, when it's another high mountain you have to climb, when it's fear inducing and not fear relieving, I don't want to know about it. Okay? It's got to be pure and peaceable and loving and kind and generous. Number two, if I'm in church where I'm supposedly meant to be, why am I feeling so anxious? So here are some thoughts. Anxiety gets fueled by being in unpredictable contexts. It gets calmed when there is order, direction, and quiet. All right. And I suspect that this person would find it very difficult going to even a busy shopping centre. I know I do. Churches can be the same. The writer mentions they go to a church that has thousands of people coming to it. I can imagine it's a mega church. And there's a lot of stimuli coming in on the brain. The overwhelm would be huge. I don't think it's a place for them. It might be fine for others who can cope with that, and that's okay. In the church that I pastored when I was pastoring a church, particularly for people with serious and major mental illnesses, we did a number of things to help people with their anxiety. Number one was lots of space. At one venue, we actually met around tables, and people could get up and move around with ease. People were not shoulder to shoulder with each other. There was space. The second thing we did was there was an empty back row. The back row was always there, empty for those who were wanting to sneak in after the service started and sneak out before it finished. People who didn't want to have any connection with anybody else, they just wanted to be part of it. And a few people did that. And slowly what happened is that they would start to feel safer and less anxious in the place. And they would, slowly get to know other people, and that would help their anxiety as well. I think it's much more. It was like a bit like Nicodemus, who watched Jesus and came to him by night. He was anxious. You know, this empty back row. It was there for people who wanted to observe from a distance. The third thing that we did was it was the same format every week. There was a predictability. Some churches, like the one I attend, they have a written order of service. That helps anxiety too. Everybody knows what's going to happen next. There is predictability. Number four, set start time, set finish time. Again, there is a predictability. Everybody knows this is what we do. Number five was we kept things really, really simple. Nothing complex or difficult to understand. Everything explained, everything quite laid out, very simple. And the sixth thing, nothing loud or over the top. Like there wasn't loud music, there wasn't flashing lights. Or one church had fog machines. For goodness sake, this wasn't a performance. No, it was real simple, basic, easy, comfortable, no drama, no hype. Okay. And I would suggest to this lady that she might want to find another church that is smaller and less noisy. Bigger is not always better. What might suit one person may not suit another person. And I would suggest actually there's probably 20% of that congregation that she goes to that might feel the same. 1 in 5 people. Okay. And do the church leadership listen to those people? Probably not. Anyway, the third thing I like to say is when she said where I'm supposed to be, and she uses the words to imply that someone or even a belief system is telling her that she is supposed to be in a church service. And I got a quick question is like, who or what is supposing on her or supposing on you? And the word suppose comes from a couple of words which means to be placed under. All right. And I've had many people suppose me, place me under expectations that just weren't the right fit for me. And the load and the compression and the heaviness, it gets heavy and it just fuels the depression and the anxiety. And I've got to ask, is this church and its culture, where you are supposed to be? Does God want you in a place that is anxiety inducing? Is this church a safe place for you? By the way, I believe that, in that church that I just mentioned, there were many others feeling probably the same way, that she wasn't alone. She's not weird or strange. She just needs something different. Personally, I cannot go to large churches like that anymore. I used to be part of a reasonably large church here in New Zealand. I found that a struggle too. Actually, I'd often just go out and sit in the cafe and talk with other people who found it difficult too. And we did church there. But whenever I go to reasonably large churches, I feel like I'm going into like a sausage machine. Here's the stage. Yeah, here's the stage show for you to accept whether you like it or not, and you pop out the other side all Christianized for the next week. It just feels like a bit of a machine, like a stage show. It just feels a bit non-relational. And they call it church. And I prefer a relational church, small, intimate, predictable, and empowering. Now I know that some of those things can be fear-inducing as well, and sometimes you may need to have a back row somewhere else. But for me, I prefer something small, intimate, predictable, and empowering, where people know my name and want to share life with me. My kind of church is one where we kindle each other to love and good works. And the writer of Hebrews says this: let us consider how to stir up or kindle up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together. Okay, that's often used. Oh, if you're not going to church, you're not meeting together. And it's like, no, that's not what he's saying. Not neglecting to meet together, like getting together with a few people. No, we need to meet together, as is the habit of some. But encouraging one another, okay? That's what church is all there for, is to encourage one another to love and good works. And if your church you're going to is not doing that, I've got to wonder, is it church? I really do. And I like the church connection offered in this story. When he, Jesus, was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us? Oh, I think that's the type of church we are supposed to be in. A church, maybe two or three others that just come together and invite Jesus there, where we can encourage each other in our faith and to help each other with our anxieties and our depressions and all our other stuff. Hey, if you like this, share it with somebody else. Subscribe, of course. Send me an email with your questions. I'd love to, or put them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. It's really important. And thank you. Okay, bye.